Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. And that was a fantastic panel session which we just witnessed on digitalization shaping the future of lending in NBFC. And what a plethora of experts we had in this panel. Really fantastic. And my congratulations and thanks to all the honorable panel members for giving their time and making this panel such a success. Also, I would like to thank the honorable moderator, Ms. Jaya Janardhan, COO from Indostar Capital, for wonderfully moderating this panel. Now, ladies and gentlemen, moving on to our next session of the day on a very interesting and a very crucial subject and topic on driving the engagement results with customer experience or CX automation, truth or dare. And to present on this very interesting subject, I would like to call on stage Ashutosh Sharma, Vice President and General Manager of CX Automation Global from Yellow Dot AI. Ashutosh, welcome back and a warm welcome to you at the India NBFC Summit 2021. It's always a pleasure having you in our forums, Ashutosh, and I'm looking forward to another explosive session from your side. Before you begin the presentation, I would like to give you some good news. We are now counting with 1,200 plus live attendees. So a lot of people are waiting to hear from you and learn from the offerings of Yellow.ai. And I would request all of our attendees that after Ashutosh's session, please do interact with the team of Yellow.ai. They are here for today and tomorrow, both the days. Learn more about their offerings and solutions. Specifically, I think with Ashutosh's session, you will have a lot of interest as well as a lot of understanding about Yellow.ai's offerings for the NBFC. All over to you, Ashutosh.
Thanks a lot, Soumya. Good afternoon, everyone. I'll quickly share my screen. Yeah, so today we'll be majorly talking about CX automation, and we'll try to basically dig deeper into the typical scenarios in which like CX automation has been successful and has not been successful. And while keeping the conversational automation softwares as a centerpiece of this whole thing, and how can we actually make our strategies, especially for the NBFC side, where there is a huge amount of customer success initiatives that are to be done, how we can make this thing as a successful initiative overall. So the idea over here is that we have been talking a lot about CX automation in the past and how chatbots or voice bots can impact all those things. But the idea, but what most of the brands, larger brands, have noticed, let's say in the last decade, is that a lot of softwares were delivering a lot of engagement when it comes to their users, but the results are still something that are that the companies are still trying to look forward to, and they usually take a bit of a time, majorly because the kind of a ecosystem that we are coming from, which is highly I would say siloed, and there are like broken journeys. Tying all those pieces together used to take a lot of time with the traditional approach that companies were taking for CX automation. So that is why the dare of going towards total CX automation becomes a very critical initiative for most of the companies. And when we talk about total CX automation, it's basically a very well knit amalgamation of marketing automation, customer support, as well as the conversational commerce side of things. So all these things, if they are not done together, or they are not well knit, or if they are taken in silos, it's usually again the same cycle of, let's say, getting only engagement and not the results, be it in terms of ROI or reduction of your per ticket cost, or any kind of, let's say, acquisitions, new customer acquisitions that you are looking towards. So just to describe a bit on the marketing automation side, it could either be inbound or it can also be outbound, while like setting up a complete campaign management engine. On the customer support side, it involves a very, I would say, deep integration with your contact center suite, and on top of which you can basically have any kind of a voice bots be sitting over there, and which also have the capabilities to push out notifications through the campaign management module. And the third side of it is the conversational commerce, wherein you want the people to transact through all the systems that you are integrating to on the front end, be it a WhatsApp, Facebook, any kind of a mobile app, or a website, or a multiple sets of landing pages that you have. So as long as these things are like very well tied, that is when we can think about a total CX automation initiative, which actually delivers results in maybe 90 days rather than the traditional 1 year or 2 year cycle. So when we think about implementing total CX automation, there are some very I would say, very prominent challenges that companies have faced, especially the enterprises, that either they, let's say, go for a campaign management module launch, or they maybe set up a like an email automation or an SMS automation engine, or they set up like some kind of a WhatsApp engine in I would say in isolation to each other. And then if they go from one software to another, there is a lot of migration problems and all. And the centerpiece of all of this thing is, be it any kind of bots that you are launching, if they are lacking the real artificial intelligence capabilities and just being, I would say, programmatic in nature, that doesn't work very well. Because when you talk about a user acquisition cycle or a customer service cycle also, at any stage, if there is even a bit of a lack in that intelligence, that impacts the customer service experience in a very big manner. And that is where there is a huge opportunity cost that we are losing, either in terms of customer retention or acquisition. So lack of artificial intelligence, and let's say if we are not integrating to, let's say, all the backend systems that you have, it can be a loan origination system, an ERP, a CRM, all those things, if they are not tied to all these modules through a single interface, that is also when we lose upon certain opportunities, which actually leads to higher drop off rates, and your let's say cost per outcome, be it any kind of a campaign that you're doing, that cost per outcome is like it keeps on increasing rather than getting decreased by such softwares. So that is why having a very clear thought process while implementing total CX automation is a critical aspect, and it majorly involves, I would say, 5 steps. First is like we need to plug into all the points of interactions, all the possible points, and when we think about it, it should not be the points that let's say users are interacting with today. We have to have like a 18 to 24 months kind of a time frame in mind right from day one, that what are the possible front end channels that are becoming prominent. For example, there is an Instagram API now launched. There is a Google business messages and an Apple business chat, which is coming in a very big way, in addition to all the standard channels that are there. So having that kind of a futuristic view to plug in all the channels is important, so that we don't lose upon any kind of adoption opportunities. This and also the opportunities to reach out to the customer as and when they are present on any of these channels. The second aspect of it is building very intelligent workflows. So again, this requires a fair amount of consulting and a solutioning idea, and not just like plain implementation or integration of the solution. So if we do this kind of I would say 15 to 30 day kind of a design thinking workshop, wherein you have very well planned all of your customer cycles, then also it makes a huge impact. The second, I would say the third and fourth points are the CX campaign rollouts, and along with the target driven algos that we are making. So when we talk about campaign rollouts, it's not just about new user acquisition, but also let's say reaching out to a customer who was unhappy at a particular time, or maybe a customer who was a customer previously but now has maybe moved to some other company for the kind of products they have. So that kind of intelligence building and knowing the history of the customer, and then doing an intelligent reach out on a channel of preference, along with the algos that you develop. An algo should actually not be an aggregate one. It should understand your user's behavior. Every user has to be treated differently, and then rather than a standard approach of, let's say, following up at XYZ times, it should be a very dynamic approach that this is a kind of a lead score that you have in your system, that when the algorithm should be approaching the customer. And then the final aspect of it is that the whole software experience should be self-learning in nature. The SaaS product should have certain AI capabilities over there, that is not just like doing campaigns dynamically, but also learning from them, so that it can eventually take control of the entire CX cycle without any manual interference. So the ultimate results that we try to focus upon with this kind of an initiative can be bucketed into 4 sides, I would say. First is the higher number of campaign outcomes. So we have experimented with this with multiple clients. Approximately 55 to 60% is a very realistic number you can target for the campaign outcomes. When I say campaigns, again, it could be more number of users that are incoming, or maybe number of queries that are solved, or the cost of solving a query, all those things. Engagement is, of course, the traditional method used to maybe have 100% or 120% increased engagement rate. This kind of a method can lead to twice of it. The third aspect, which is always expected from any of the bots, is the OPEX reduction. The customer service queries, they can be auto resolved to a very high degree. Earlier, it used to be like 20-30%. We are at a level where we can go to 60% now. And the most important of it is that how fast can we keep on rolling out the changes. So a platform which is like a no code platform with easy workflow builder, and let's say this campaign management module are also very important aspects of it, to keep on improving upon the things, and actually in the first 6 months be at a level where the self learning can take over. So, how Yellow AI has been, I would say, a critical solution for its customer in this regard is that the multi-context NLP and the multilingual capabilities that come into play, they actually ensure that the kind of queries of any kind of customers in any of your regions are read very well and bucketed or segmented into the right workflows, so that they can be responded to, and the follow-up cycle is also maintained by the campaign management triggers that we have in the campaign management module. The third aspect is having an orchestrated bot infrastructure, so wherein your entire central intelligence can be maintained in one bot across your enterprise, but there can be branches to maybe like different departments that you have, and every department can control their own data. So that's an orchestrated I would say infrastructure, which is very very important when you have to grow over a period of, let's say, 18 months, and the data is like becomes unmanageable after a certain time. So this will help you manage your data as well. And of course, the whole system needs to have an analytics module that gives you a real time view of how you are performing, be it in terms of any of the KPIs you have. It can be a customer acquisition cost, it can be OPEX reduction, it can be number of new users that you are getting, or how your, let's say, how are the CTRs, etc., for your marketing campaigns are performing. So this is what leads to a very robust CX automation approach. There are examples of multiple clients that we have worked with on this, Tata Capital being one of them, wherein over the last 1 year, there are 4 million new user, like 4 million users who have been interacting on the bots we have launched for them on their website, WhatsApp, mobile apps. There is a voice driven bot as well. And these are for numerous use cases, be it let's say just a new user or acquisition for their personal loans department, or can be a wealth management bot that is there, and there is also like a KYC management bot that is there on the voice side of things. So the use cases can be anything and everything. It's just about how we build the workflows from day one. So this has had a huge impact on their overhead costs for, let's say, per customer acquisition or the per call that they were making, and of course there is approximately 70 to 80% faster query resolution that we have seen. Another example in a similar domain is the largest NBFC, I would say, Bajaj Finserv, where the bot is live for more than 3 years now, and it is across all the channels. They were like very careful about it, that right from day one they tapped into all the channels, even though they were not very prominent at that time. But right now the adoption is pretty huge, and almost like 20 million conversations are being handled right now on an annual basis on these bots. And the kind of revenue impact it is creating, let's say, either through, let's say, renewals for their loans, or any kind of top up loans, etc., that they are getting, that's a huge impact that is getting created. And there is always a good funnel of qualified leads which the bots are helping in qualifying, because of the huge amount of marketing initiatives. Similar initiatives can be in the on the insurance side. In any of the BFSI cases, these can be implemented, and that is where the impact is actually coming. And yeah, this is like, I would say, BFSI is one, but our platform is more or less industry agnostic. So we have seen similar results even in the conversational commerce side of things. The moment you want to bring some kind of capabilities for buying products or transacting, that can also be taken care of. So again, just to focus on some of the major areas where we deliver results, it can be the amount of orders placed through a certain for a certain product. It can be the direct revenue or the indirect revenue impact through renewals or maybe top ups that are happening. It can be the reduction in the ticket size for any of your contact center automation use cases. And of course, the revenue and sales for a steady sales pipeline that is being driven through a new channel, which is not there presently available, that can also be a very good criteria for adopting these technologies. Just to talk in brief about Yellow AI, we are conversational AI platform on top of which you can build any kind of voice or chat automation routines that could be across segments, use cases, verticals. And the idea is that it's not just like one set of use cases that we are handling. It could be internal automation or external automation, be it sales, marketing, customer support, or anything on the HR automation, IT support automation side of things, with a complete contact center automation suite as well, that can get integrated to your existing system. uh, we have like a holistic understanding of more or less every use case that is there in the BFSI industry, be it loans, deposits, etc., in the banking and lending segment, or even in the capital markets or insurance. So this is just a very limited view, but there are like I would say handbooks that we have created internally so that our go live time and our consulting ability for different clients is the top notch thing that we can offer along with the technology side of it. So speech-driven voice bots have also been are also being adopted very heavily right now. This is one of the things that we have seen almost 400% increase in the last in this particular year, and there are very set use cases where you can straight away see the benefits or the ROI coming within a couple of months of deploying such things, because the go lives are also very quick as compared to traditional technologies now. A very quick look of some of the clients we have in the BFSI domain. The use cases are like anything and everything, and majorly focused on the either customer support or the customer acquisition side. And if you talk about the overall landscape, there are a holistic list of clients that we have all across all these industries. Public sector also being one of our prominent, I would say, expertise areas, where we have deployed a lot of bots like for BFS, or for BPCL, for Madhya Pradesh government, etc. So all of these are like how we work is it's a very customized manner. Whenever we deal with the client, we firstly understand the overall landscape, suggest a few use cases from our side, then we do a consulting session, and then finally we go to a level wherein we can develop that total CX automation strategy for them, and then accordingly we customize our solution for that. So that's the overall idea, and that's the whole thing about yellow AI. Happy to take any questions around this.
For that wonderful presentation. I think indeed very much exciting to hear you, and very, very thoughtful as well. So I would request all of you to kindly interact with Team Yellow.ai for today and tomorrow. They are there for both the days. And if you have any doubts and queries and you want to reach out to Ashutosh, even he is available and his team is available for both the days of the event. Thank you once again, Ashutosh, for that wonderful session and presentation on the particular subject of customer experience from the perspective of YOLO.ai for the NBFC industry. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we end this particular session. We will now move on to our next panel discussion session of the day. Thank you.